Welcome back to another episode of
Sound It Out.
Happy Holidays.
Happy Holidays. Look.
Oh, I have a funny story about that also.
Okay.
But what were you going to
I was just going to say hi. We're here together in New York City.
We didn't plan our outfits, but
No, we didn't, but it worked out perfectly. I mean, yeah, we're so in sync.
We're also cheersing to a wonderful year.
An amazing year of Sound It Out.
Okay, take it.
Yeah, okay, so, yay.
You know, I think podcasters that have audiences get a lot of negative comments in the comments when podcasters make drinking or eating sounds. So this is good for us.
It is, because we're not going to hold on to that for the whole time.
So here we are in New York City.
Yes, we are. At my friend Dennis Paoli's house and Ginger Blake's home. It's beautiful, and they've allowed us into their home so that we have this beautiful light and the paintings in the back by Jim Wood that are really amazing.
And we can record together.
Yeah, and we can be together.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, I'm excited about this episode. We are going through some of the top news headlines of 2025, education related. We have not told each other what articles we have chosen, we're excited to see if they're all the same. And we will go over the headlines, give a little summary, and then just banter
and chat
about our thoughts. Yeah. And in the notes,
we will have all the links and
authors,
everything.
Research, yeah. So should we catch up?
Yeah. I'm gonna get my drink for this. So, are you gonna go first?
Sure, I'll go first. I'm coming fresh off of the train from Long Island, where I just had a family party, and coming from a Irish Catholic Long Island family. Many, if you come from that same background, might also have 79 cousins and 432 aunts and uncles, and no party is a small party, and I am just, I'm burnt out. I had the most amazing time with my family.
Like it was so much fun.
I got a lot of shit for not bringing my kids, but you know, it's interesting because as the night wore on and my cousins with kids left, it was just my aunts and uncles and I, and we were bonding and we were telling stories and we were catching up, and I was really like, it's so funny. It's when I got here and you were disinterested in me and asked where my kids were. If they were here, we wouldn't have been able to chat and have this really nice time. So if you're listening, which I did plug us.
Oh, that'd be great. You want to give shout out to everybody?
Shout out to the Kerwick family.
Oh.
My mom's side of the family, most amazing people. I mean, I thought my Long Island accent was going to come on way stronger. It's just an incredible family. It's an incredible, like, my nan and pop, my grandparents, built an amazing family unit of people who put their family first. Yeah. And just, like, the core value of family before anything and sticking together is really strong. And my cousins feel like siblings, which I feel very lucky. And there's just so many of them. And I love them. I love them so much. Yeah, so I'm really happy and really thankful. But yeah, that's my catch up. I have a voice, but like this is not my voice.
Yeah, she's sniffly. She's a little sniffly.
Yeah, so but yes, I'm happy to be here with Shanida. I'll head back to DC tomorrow morning, but for now,
here we are. It's so great. My catch up. Well, I guess it's the end of the term. Thank Jesus.
Yeah.
Because I'm dead.
Yeah.
We had report cards. That was a whole situation, which I might get into, I might not. And we had our Christmas party, which was interesting. And we're just getting ready for the countdown to the end of the year. And then it's January.
Wait.
Yes.
I remember It was our first episode.
Yes.
Where we were catching up about the holiday party.
Yes, it was.
Because I remember being like,
full circle.
Ooh, because in our history of teaching together, the holiday party was a banger.
It was a banger, and it was always like, and you always say this, you're like, all of a sudden you're in a room with lipstick on and like a drink, and like the vibe shifts.
Yeah.
And it did, but it was kind of sad because like not a lot of people came.
It's really sad.
So like there were people there, and it was like there was like a good number of people, and we had like a decent turnout, but it wasn't like if all the people had like actually shown up and like we were all in the room. The food was amazing.
What did you eat?
It was like it's like kind of like bar food, like mac and cheese, and it was in our quad, like in the library of the school. But the mac, it was like silky.
Yeah.
And then there were like 2 bartenders, and like it was like big pours. It was great. It was really, really lovely.
Was it right at what time was it?
It was at 4:30. So
stuff.
Yeah, but it's also like you could stay in your classroom. You could like hang out. A bunch of us went to a bar nearby first, and then we had a couple, and then got there.
Okay.
It was great. It was really great. And like it's kind of like I'm really grateful for the people that I work with. Because they're lovely. They're really lovely. And now it's like I'm going on this is my 4th year. So it's been really, it feels crazy that I've been there so long.
Yeah.
And I love it. Yeah. And then just like coming off of report cards, because we submitted report cards on Thursday, and it's just like, and anybody who, knows writing a report card, it's literally, when you're done, it's like taking the biggest dump ever. Like, and you've been so constipated and you haven't been able to go, and then all of a sudden you do, and it's like, you're like sweating, you need water. I mean,
I would say it's TMI and we should cut that out, except
I'm leaving it in, because anybody who knows me.
Well, I have a connection.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Literally last week, we were in Ohio for Thanksgiving, and Rye, my now 5-year-old, was in the bathroom, and I come in to check on him, and he goes, "Hey, Mom, do you know that feeling when you take a really good poop?" It's just a universal thing.
Because that's how I know. That's how I know people must know what it feels like.
But a 5-year-old has no qualms about saying what they're really thinking, and it's like, oh, everyone is really thinking.
Yeah. It's true though, but it's nice. Now they're done. They're in, and I mean, I could bring up my little, and I'll add it on, because then I can cut it out if I feel like it. But I have had like a little bit of growth, I feel, and like you were really pivotal in helping me get to this place. Not only because of our past experience as co-teachers, but just you were able to walk. You pulled me off the ledge. I could send you like all this stuff, and I really feel I'm really grateful for you. Like that, you don't know how much that was. Like it was so I went through this. It was just like a question of professionalism and integrity, and I just felt like I was in a weird way, not being attacked, but like I was caught in the middle of making this decision, and like you really helped me weigh the 2 sides of it. It's like, is it me calling out a person for integrity needed? Is it necessary? What is that going to do for my relationship? Or is it like, okay, I'm going to just let this go, and because I value my relationship with this person more? And you really helped me see that, and I was really grateful for that. Yeah. So I think, you and I went through, and like we haven't even talked about this because we never did our prologue. But like, Cailin and I butt heads, like when we first met. And we had, and it was just like, both of us in a new school, a start of school as well, and just wanting to do our best.
Yes.
And just like lack of communication and like being able to like talk to each other, because if you don't know a person that well, right, it's harder to like, hey, I'm noticing, right?
Oh, I mean, even when you do, it's constantly a challenge, I think.
Yeah. We
spoke about that at brunch, that there was a really good example, actually.
Yeah.
We can't keep going off on our tangents, but it's a co-teaching relationship, I think, is so complicated, because it's not even like at the end of the day you can snuggle and make out.
No.
It's just the hard stuff. It's really just the hard stuff. I mean, you can celebrate your students' wins and the beauty of what you're building in the classroom, but That's very little of it. Like, a lot of it is the behind the scenes building. But the thing that I think got both of us through is that every time we were butting heads
Mm-hmm.
and every issue that we had, it was always stemming from this intense passion
Yes.
for what we were doing.
Yes.
And I think that even if we couldn't see it in the moment, we knew it somewhere in the back of our minds and our hearts, and like, it's what kept us going.
Yeah.
And the best thing for us has been space.
Yes.
And we're thriving.
We are. And I think this is the reason why we've chosen to do this podcast together, is because we both have that passion. We both love so deeply and hardly.
I like hardly. Sure.
Hardly, yeah, sure. And I feel like that's like that passion hopefully comes out in what we're doing here as well.
Yeah, I agree.
And on that note, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Are we doing things we're loving?
Oh, shit. I keep saying the S word.
I
I'm
know.
gonna beep
I
it
just
out.
have a quick one, and
Yes.
actually, it wasn't
If
what I
you
planned.
pull out a book out of your bag, I
Not
swear on
really
my
that
life.
book, but I do have one that's Dyslexia Advocate, great book. But no, that's not it. It is. So I grabbed this at a juice shop.
Oh yeah, this is really good.
Okay, I've seen like influencers advertising this, and there's like coupon. I know. I wish I had more. I've seen coupon codes for it, and usually when I see that, it actually makes me wary. I feel like when the marketing is too good, I'm like, I don't know. But I was in a pinch. I felt this cold coming on. And anyway, it's Symbiotica.
You have to hold your hand up behind it, so it's like
you're a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Symbiotica, 1,000 milligrams, vitamin C, and they say, I don't know the science behind it, but it's, how would you pronounce that? Liposomal?
Yeah.
Liposomal delivery. Something about the way that it's this
In
gel.
The gel. Mm-hmm.
I swear I felt an immediate change in energy and just like brightness. I wish I got a B12. If the vitamin C made me feel really that good.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I'm sold on these.
Symbiotica.
Symbiotica. And the good news is you can probably find a coupon code because they're doing a lot of Instagram advertising.
I feel like that reminds me of those gels that like people
runners
when they run. Yeah,
yes.
when they run. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it really helped. What do you love?
Love it. What am I loving?
Besides Zara.
Yes, Zara. Thank you, Zara, for my sweater. I am loving. Okay, this is gonna sound really. I was about to say chuggy.
Oh yeah.
But it is in the season. As you know, I'm a Catholic. And we're in the season of Lent, and I'm loving the Catholic Church right now.
Oh, she's back on. Well, she's always. I'm
always on, but I mean, I feel like I'm even more on. I'm loving. I mean, and I think even one of the things that I loved in one of our past episodes was that I said I loved the new Pope. But I feel like right now we're in like a really nice uptick. I went to church earlier today. It was packed, and it's just really nice to see. And there were a lot of people who went up to communion but didn't take communion. Which, you know, and that usually signifies like they're coming to church, but maybe they're not Catholic.
It's like everyone goes to the gym on January 1st.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, it's Lent and people are coming, and it's just been really nice. And I'm just really loving the church right now. And it's nice. I love Jesus.
I mean, I think my son is
and that was
becoming a Catholic.
Auntie, Shanida will.
I might send him to Shanida's church camp this summer.
Let's do. Oh my God, Bible camp! That'd be so much fun.
He's very interested. Like we're 5 steps away from him. I swear, asking to go to mass.
You should just go to mass. It's a fun exercise, and like go on like a Tuesday at like 4.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's like, and I will give you a couple because when I go to visit you, I always go to a bunch of different churches in DC. So they're like some that I really like. St. Matthew's.
Oh my God, I like forget that you do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that's it. Let's get into our central.
You're ready to go. You go first.
I'm ready to go. Okay, so again, we're gonna just set up the format. So we've selected, I think between us, a bunch of articles. I was gonna give a number, but I won't make it. Yeah, it's a bunch of different articles that we think are the most significant in education for 2025. And these are the ones that we feel are kind of the most pivotal, that have made the most change, or whatever,
or
just really interesting or like super important.
Thought-provoking.
Yes. My first one was, of course, I just feel like stood out the most, was that Trump orders a plan to dismantle the Department of Education. And this is from the AP in March 2020, March 20th, 2025. And this was just him with the executive order saying that he was going to shut down to the greatest extent permitted by law. And we know what happened with all of that, how, you know, a number of programs were cut. People are saying that this is like the Department of Ed and civil rights are really tightly knit and linked, and how this is going to affect education being available to all and equal. So I thought that was, yeah.
It's important to touch on. I mean, we spoke a little bit about it.
Yeah, it was one of our, I think it was like
episodes.
one of our, we had a whole episode on this.
What was the word-for-word title?
It was
Headline?
Trump orders a plan to dismantle the education department.
Okay.
Yeah. There were so many, like so many papers covered this in different ways. But one of the things that it just said federal oversight is fading, control is being shifted back to the states and localities. And I think we talked about that in great length too in one of our episodes, where it was like, well, what does this mean? And then, like, I think we had even found out, because we didn't really realize that the states always have had control over their education. So the Department of Ed really didn't manage that. But I think it like just made us have like larger conversations about like, what does this mean for it being, you know, like the quality of schools, or especially public schools in particular. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, what I can speak to underneath this headline that I dove into a little bit on my own was the impact on research and data.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially in a year when, and you could argue it's been a few years, but definitely hot and heavy this year, the focus on the science of reading, and all of the science is from data that has been so carefully collected, and all of the research that's been done. And we keep hearing, you know, based on research, based on research, based on research. I always wondered, that felt overwhelming to me. What is the research? Who's doing the research? Where is this bucket of research that everybody keeps referring to? Which is dangerous, because teachers don't have time to read research, never mind find the research.
Right.
And everybody just keeps calling it the research. One thing that was revealed for me when reading about this sledgehammer that Trump is taking to the Department of Ed is that many of the contracts that were affected, many of the contracts that were affected were managed by the Education Department's arm of research, which is known as IES, the Institute of Education Sciences.
Yes.
So I do not spend enough time on that platform. It funds critical data collection, evaluations of education programs, long-term studies on students, and other research that helps shape federal and educational policy. And when you need to find, like, what is the research on good teaching of fluency for children, you could go to this platform to find those answers. I mean, huge impact. How do we move forward?
Yeah.
This is the issue that I have with a lot of the decisions of the current administration, is that it sometimes I hear a change being made. Like, I was open to dismantling or changing. Sometimes things need updating and fixing.
They need to be shaken up.
But when you're updating and fixing things by deleting an entire platform of research and development, I can't get on board. I don't understand. And it also makes me feel sad that that isn't in the headline that the current administration is delivering. They're just saying, updates needed, we're on it, but they're not explaining how tragic it is that we can't really move forward and make our education system better if we don't have data and research to back it up.
Right.
Did you get any information of where it is currently, or?
I think no. But I remember the last time when we actually talked about this, it was the biggest place, and this is another headline, and that could roll us into the next one, was this big rollback of DEI. So I feel like the Department of Ed is kind of targeting these smaller areas and like snuffing them out in the process of their, of this whole like streamlining and like their effort to do this. But then it is state level, because now like, University of Michigan is like, talking about, they're closing they closed their DEI office because of federal pressure, and a lot of schools, like in Florida or whatever, are banning DEI or critical race theory in their classrooms. So I feel like that's like a big part of it. Yeah, I think it's definitely a really good place to do a deep dive if you are interested in learning more about it.
Yeah.
But we can jump into another one.
Okay, sure. So, let's see. Okay, headline, why school isn't working for many boys and what could help.
Wow.
So, what the article says in a nutshell, boys on average face greater developmental and academic challenges than girls across many school measures, and the gap starts early and widens over time. Researchers and educators argue schools aren't well designed to address the way many boys develop, behave, and learn.
Wow.
I know, and this came across my desk like years and years ago, actually from a past colleague, Ashley Wise. We had boys at the same time 5 years ago, and both were educators together, and she sent me some, Ezra Klein did a really interesting podcast on it, and there were many books and articles published for many years now. A couple of details about why the boys are struggling. Early development, so boys are more likely to start school with weaker language, self-regulation, and social-emotional skills. I think executive functioning and emotional regulation, I think, are developing just later than girls. And then boys are consistently lacking behind in reading achievement, overall grades, high school graduation. Behavior discipline is an issue. Boys are disproportionately referred for discipline.
Yeah.
They're more often labeled with behavioral or learning challenges. And the big question is like, how are schools contributing to this problem? And this article emphasized that many schools are prioritizing verbal skills, self-control, and seat work, areas where girls often develop earlier.
Right.
And the use of discipline systems are escalating issues rather than supporting regulation skills. So, like, they need more movement-based options, interest-driven learning opportunities. A lot of this I'm reading and thinking, again, like how much I love the IB and the PPP.
I was just going to say the same.
Because, you've got social-emotional learning is held at an equal importance to academics. Yeah. They go hand in hand, right?
And then it's also that interest-based learning where there's, student agency in picking, things that they're doing or research or projects. And so there is a greater level of interest. And I think because also, like you said, with the SEL, and I'm just like thinking of my own classroom right now, like movement breaks happen. And it's not always the entire class because the whole class doesn't need it. But it's like, oh, you need to, go, or let's go in the hall, let's go for a walk, or we're going to do, and there's so much more flexibility. Wow.
So it's interesting because, so when you move on to, what did the article say about researchers and educators, their suggestions on how to move forward. It's different than what I've seen in the past. In a lot of the literature I was reading, like many years ago, there were some suggestions of, like, why do boys and girls have to start kindergarten at age 5? Why can't they be looked at differently? And suggestions of, like, you know, whether boys start later or girls start earlier, potentially girls starting at 5 and boys having the opportunity to start at 6. Because what parents are doing is trying to hold their child back. Like, boys will get an extra year of preschool to try to catch up with those executive functioning and emotional skills. I feel very lucky that without planning, Rye's a November birthday, and so he's the oldest in his class, without us having to, like, pay for an extra year that's very expensive of, you know, preschool. Also, DC is really cracking down on regulations of, like, say you do hold your child back and pay for private school and then enter him into kindergarten at 6, you actually don't have that option. They're going to put your kid in first grade. And you've now tried to, this happened to a bunch of parents that didn't realize it was going to happen. They paid extra, they kept their child in with the intention of enrolling him in kindergarten at age 6. And the opposite happened. Their kid did not get to go to kindergarten and was forced to enroll. Now, they could have stuck with private, but maybe they didn't have that financial opportunity.
Right, and not everybody has that as well.
So I find that very interesting, and I know, obviously, like, one of the pros and cons, I think mostly a con of our country, is every state is going to handle this differently.
Exactly.
But what researchers and educators said in this article as suggestions were, as strategies to help boys without harming girls, stronger early literacy instruction, teaching self-regulation and executive skills in a better way, not just enforcing behavior. Lots of movement play and flexible seating, and discipline approaches focused on skill building rather than punishment. Encouraging positive male academic identities, especially around reading.
That's interesting.
But, I mean, these are major overhauls of curriculum and instruction that, like, even if we got to a place where schools were implementing it in a sequential way that was effective, it's going to take a long time to get everybody on board. You know, I think realistically, public schools are needing this more than private schools, and is the funding and the time even available for that? So this feels like an uncomfy article to quote because it doesn't feel like there's an answer. But I think it's important, thought-provoking, and, like, needs to be discussed.
Yeah, I agree. Wow. And just, like, thinking kind of just, again, like, in my classroom, like, how are we supporting those things? Like, a couple of those things we were saying, just, like, executive functioning. Like, we literally tell our kids, like, how to pack their seat sack. So it's like, you know, and we, like, show them, and, like, because if you do it like that, like, just giving them the whole, and it sounds silly, and it sounds like a little bit, like, you know, retentive or
Is this a good use of time?
Right, but if you do it once at the beginning of the year, everybody knows what their seat sack's supposed to look like, and, like, they can find things in them, and you know, it's so it's just that one little thing. I do feel like, and, like, because my co-teacher and I are very much alike, and she's very, and I'm going to use the word, like, very rigid in, like, how we keep the classroom in order, and I'm all for it. It really works later in the year. So, like, I'll go into classrooms now, and it's like, ooh, like, it's, you know, because it's December, and, like, you know, whatever, there are projects going on, it's been a long time, and things are, like, messy, but if you incorporate those things, like, super early on, like, our room is, every time we leave, it's, like, beautiful, and, like, there's nothing on the ground, their pencils are away, it's just,
it's so easy to get caught up in the big, like, conceptual stuff and the academics, but I really, if I could go back and make a big change,
and it's just at the it's literally the first, like, 3 to 4 weeks of school, and you're just building, and it's not, Yeah, set the stage, and it's expected. They know the expectation. They know what's expected, and it works so well.
It's the reason I love Montessori, right? Like,
yeah.
It gets clowned on sometimes by
yeah.
people, and I think it's quite the opposite. You know, like, oh, my daughter goes to school and she sweeps and shines.
But she's transferring beans into, like, yeah, we'll have to
no, I said to her,
like the
what
water.
did you do at school today? And she goes, I went to the playground and I swept.
Yeah, and it's like, I love that. Yeah. Oh, it's great. Okay. Next one. Mine, I had one, I feel like it just connects to, like, things that we've talked about before, and it's just the national reading scores have struck historic lows. And this is from Ed Week, October 2025. And it's just saying that according to new data from testing group NWEA, so like the MAP testing, K-8 students' reading scores remain flat at pandemic-era lows, while math scores show modest improvement. That suggests some recovery from pandemic times, but reading, especially foundational for all learning, remains stuck. And this struck me because it immediately went back to our first podcasts where we were talking about the science of reading and, like, the Lucy Calkins of it all, and, like, how this is such, we kind of, like, in our country, right, we're trying to find our ground from the pandemic, but even pre-pandemic, of our issues with teaching phonics, foundational reading skills, like all of these things. There's like a real, it's our weakest spot. You know, that and the math too, but like, let's go with the reading. Like,
but the data is showing us that if one subject was able to start making gains again, then it's not just the gains need more time to gain. It's that there's a fundamental issue specifically in reading.
And I feel like it really comes from that foundational phonics issue. Like, we've been for so long doing the wrong thing, and now we need to rectify and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's something I say all the time. When I talk to parents that reach out to me for reading, remediation, and I talk to them about what schools their child's going to and what their reading instruction looks like, many of them will say, yeah, but great news is they've adopted, like a lot of my fall phone calls were over the summer, the whole faculty was trained in OG, and it's like, yes, awesome, amazing, like everyone, let's have a moment of silence to celebrate that, but the amount of time it takes for that learning from the teacher to be transferred effectively to an entire classroom, it's going to take a while. Especially if you're looking at kids who are already in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade who didn't receive OG or didn't receive explicit phonics instruction. They're readers already. That's an interesting point. So this is where it's like you get into these just like crazy dippy holes with these articles, because the next things, my next questions are, this data I'm assuming is coming from testing, because we know the research arm's been chopped off. So the data's coming from testing, but there's no testing in the early years where the phonics-based teaching is at its peak. This is coming in the later years, which to me signals there's a major issue now. We need the science of reading, and the whole movement that I'm really proud to hear has been loud and proud and maintained, and everybody's like really trying their best, I feel like. Now we need it in the realm of comprehension. Right. The science of reading, comprehension. And there is a debate on comprehension that I find very interesting. I could save it for my next, I could see it. It's one of my articles, or I could just do it, bring it into here. So this is our 4th one now? Sure, yeah, let's just naturally, where is it? And while you're looking for that, I am going to just say, so this is coming from NWEA, which is the MAP test, which I don't know if you remember, we used to give it at our old school. And the MAP test, I actually really love it because it's a great, I always think of it as a thermometer. So you can put it, put it in your kids. Now, the kids can take the test and it adjusts as it
as it goes on, as the kid is testing, and it gives you kind of a really broad picture of what they're capable of doing, of what they do really well, and what they're ready to do. So when you look at their results, it's like this amazing, almost like cheat sheet bulleted list of like, oh, these are all the things that they can't do. These are all the things that they can do really well. And these are all the things that they could work on and need or are ready to do. So I feel like it's really, really amazing. Sorry, I just
I've got this. Okay, yes. And that can help. Oh, my ears are popping. Oh my God. So the article that I'll blend into yours is reading literacy and educational outcomes remain a central concern. So there's a new review from researchers across 6 different universities that found that English language arts teachers across grades K to 12 aren't regularly using what research shows to be the most effective strategies for helping students understand text. And so from reading this article is how I originally started asking questions about where does this research come from, and learning more about the Institute of Education Sciences, IES, which we just said is under, I mean, we need to follow up and see if that has in fact been dismantled. But research from that branch when it was alive, hopefully still is, let me find, was giving this data on the lack of good comprehension skills. So there was a major research came about in the 1970s on the same topic of reading comprehension, and it showed that less than 1%, let me see where that exact quote is. Okay, so while reading teachers are spending less than a quarter of the class time devoted to reading, working on comprehension, its magnitude's better than it was in the 1970s, which was less than 1% of the time. And this disconnect seems familiar to many who are following the science of reading movement, which, as we know, is a major attempt to align instruction in foundational reading skills such as phonics to what evidence shows are methods most likely to help students crack the code of written language. So now we need to find the research and crack the code of comprehension. There's a major debate. Some researchers call for focus on evidence-based reading comprehension strategies, and then others are saying it's more important for students to have knowledge, to work on building knowledge about the world through social studies and science content, and an attempt to help them unlock more meaning from texts that they're reading. But it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah, and so then there's other experts in the field that are saying schools shouldn't take on an either-or approach.
It should be both.
They think education or life in false dichotomies. Well, we think about education or life in false dichotomies because it's easy to simplify thinking in that way. But it's not a knowledge or strategy situation.
Right.
Children can't comprehend text if they don't have background knowledge.
Right.
About it. So the uneven use of evidence-based practices, spotty implementation is all something that I think is a giant weight on these reading scores.
I agree.
And it's important to note too that, you know, major figureheads of the science of reading are screaming in the background and saying, like, it's kind of the same as the conversation we had with Lucy Calkins. The science of reading people are like, guys, we never said it's all just about phonics.
Right.
It's a part of a much bigger picture. And it was the one, you know, bone that we threw to Lucy where we were like, guys, like, coming from people who were in the classroom in this situation, we never assumed that Lucy's curriculum was it.
End all be all, right?
You know, like, where are we losing the plot of thinking that we just plug in and go as a teacher?
Right. But I do feel like there's always this look or search for, and is this what we were talking about at lunch, where, you know, schools are always looking, it seems like, and again, it seems like people, our schools, administrations are just looking to quick fix things, band-aid it up, you know, make it easy peasy, like, oh, we're just gonna, oh, this looks great, it's really pretty, this lady did it, and she's amazing, like, let's just use it. And we're all gonna use it now, so it doesn't matter. And then it's like, oh, but is it actually good? Does it actually work? And, oh, but we're starting to notice that some kids don't actually benefit from this, or aren't actually understanding, or, like, it's not working for them. Oh, too bad. They're the problem, not the program. The program is amazing. They're the problem. So I feel like we need to kind of, I don't know, get over ourselves. I don't know if that's what but I just feel like we need to move on. We need to recognize there is a problem. We need to put our big girl panties on and solve it, as opposed to keep looking for the next best thing to, like, plug the hole.
I heard there was a metaphor in the article that I really loved, and it said basically we're a lot of the comprehension work in classrooms consists of teachers asking some summary type of questions at the end of reading, and it's very surface level, and it's not really explicitly teaching any skill. It's kind of just like checking the box of, like, I think I covered comprehension today.
Right.
And the metaphor there is it's the equivalent of getting up in front of the kids and being like, today we're going to learn how to swim, and then just throwing them in a pool. Right? Like,
right.
It's the same as you were saying with the desk organizers.
Yeah.
You need to explain more than you think, and you need to explicitly explain. And so, like, let's just keep it real simple and say, real simple. Let's get together as a faculty and say, okay, in preschool, we're just going to cover real damn well these 2 comprehension strategies. That's it. Like, all year, and then in kindergarten, the same 2, but we're going to build. And then you figure out how you're going to do your scope and sequence, but you keep it real small, real tight, and you just keep building on it, and it's cohesive and it's sequential, and that is the magic in the phonics movement. Yeah, it's sequential phonics teaching. It's the same shit. Yeah.
Like, I also feel like it's like the spine. It's your spine. It's the skeletal spine of comprehension, is you have all of those outcomes. But then you're allowing your kids to use other resources. They're reading newspapers, they're reading articles, they're reading other books, even if they're slightly above their level. And you have ways for them to, like, they have book groups, or they have other ways to kind of to implement all of those skills that they're using at the same time, because they have to have all of it together. But I feel like that's where then it gets murky, because they're like, oh, but you have to have that spinal column, you have to have that backbone, you know, of how do we build off of this.
But, you know, the beauty in that too, I think what's really cool is once you really start thinking deeply and carefully and thoughtfully about comprehension skills, you very naturally achieve the teaching of executive functioning skills. Note-taking, organization. I mean, and that's where, like, these are a lot of the issues that we keep talking about are plaguing the education system in this country. And, like, it's not for a lack of effort. I just feel like it's a lot of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, and, like, the cohesion and just a sequential practice.
I don't know why we're so afraid of it. It feels like we're afraid of it. It feels like if we just have these outcomes, or if we just have this,
I think we just need to come back to basics.
Yeah, and it's like there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean, because, like, I know, and just like, and you know this too, like, from teaching internationally, like, I taught in Colombia, South America, and it's like, Colombia's had the same outcomes for, you know, their grades forever, and all of their schools are based around these outcomes, or this expected scope and sequence. You can do whatever the hell you want, but you got to stick to these things. And education is great. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So I don't know, like, what is it that, you know, comes, it's this fear of, oh, we can't just do the same thing. Maybe it's that it's like it's going to be outdated, or but then that means you have to go back and you have to revise and you have to look at it again. But it's not like it's going to change every single time.
Well, that's why, like, we always come back to the PYP, and I think, talk about a backbone or a spine, the transdisciplinary skills.
Yeah.
So you've got these sets of skills, and say one set of skills is organizational skills. That could go cross-curricula,
yes.
cross-subject areas.
Yes.
But no matter how you're thinking about organization, it could be organization in how you're understanding a text.
Yeah.
And so that day or that month or that unit, the teacher is explaining how to organize your ideas when you're taking in nonfiction text. Mm-hmm. But then the word organization is also looked at when you're dealing with a multi-step math problem. But you have that consistent vocabulary. It's this consistency, it's the simplicity, and then each teacher, I don't know how we get there.
I don't either. Maybe you do. That would be great. Okay. We're starting to lose light.
Oh,
or is it me? Are you noticing
no, it's dark out.
It's getting dark now. Because it's like 4:05. But should we do like one more? Because we are at 46 minutes. And we've only had...
Sure, I have a quickie cutie.
We just do a quickie cutie. I have one too.
I have a quickie cutie. New York City teens could soon bank at schools as part of a new initiative.
I love that.
That's fun. Okay. Here's the summary.
Okay.
The city of New York, here we are, has announced a pilot program to bring in-school banking services to some high schools.
I love that.
Meaning teens and their families could open or use bank accounts right at school. The program is part of the broader initiative Financial Literacy for Youth. It's not just banking. Participating schools will get financial educators, offer workshops on money management, and help students explore career opportunities in finance.
Where was this when I was in high school?
All I ever hear, non-educators or just like adults in general are like, why didn't we get a class on balancing the checkbook? Or well, here it is. Here it is. So who's included for now? The pilot program will begin with 15 public high schools across New York City. The schools were chosen partly because many families in those communities historically lack access to traditional banking services. Yeah. And participating banks and credit unions include a mix of major commercial banks and local financial institutions such as Bank of America, TD, Brooklyn Cooperative Federal Credit Union, and many others. The reasons why it matters, very easy.
Yeah.
There's some criticisms and concerns, and there's a lot of pros. Did you want to dig into it?
Yeah, what are the criticisms, first of all?
So risk of exploiting students and families as customers rather than serving their needs. Kind of dark.
Yeah, kind of dark.
I didn't go there. Some observers worry that when banks or credit unions operate inside schools, they may essentially be given a captive audience of young and often financially inexperienced consumers, like credit cards. So there's credit card worry, but if this program is done well, then we want to be holding their hands as they're given opportunities to, I think that's a very pessimistic view.
Yes.
Another is effectiveness of banking plus light education versus comprehensive financial education. It's uncertain. Is this going to be just another cute little program that we say we're doing, but we don't actually, like we were just talking about with comprehension skills, get underneath it and do it right. Which is a fair criticism.
Yeah, actually.
We keep trying to do the most and add in all this shit, but if you're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
And maybe handle other issues like failing reading scores, and then when we get all that going, then maybe we can do financial literacy. So I think that's a fair criticism. And then it might shift the burden onto individuals rather than addressing systematic financial inequality or regulation.
Wow.
I just, it's hard to say because it has to happen. But
it is just high schools, right?
It's just high schools. Yeah. But there needs to be meaningful support.
Yeah, I was going to say, it has to come with really being able to support them and meeting them where they are financially, in a sense, I guess. Just in order to... because you don't want them to be taken advantage of. You don't want them to be confused or like led on or given bad information. That's what I worry about. Like they're gonna, because this is like their first encounters with like,
these are their credit scores.
Right, and so young too.
I wonder why we can't role play. I wonder why we have to literally connect with TD Bank.
Right, and an actual bank. I could see it if it was like a curricula, like
So
within a classroom.
I deleted the name, but this was a major effort and by Eric Adams.
Oh, it was.
I left his name out because I didn't want the whole thing to be. But as I'm thinking about it, remember I introduced this as a funny lady. Like,
yeah, I know. Now we're like, wow.
As I'm like digging into it and thinking about it, I love the whole idea, but I don't actually trust or understand why we need to literally work with TD Bank and why can't we role play?
Right. I do remember TD Bank as the bank that had the coin counter.
Oh,
and like they had, and it had like, it was really into like getting kids into banking.
Yeah.
And then it stopped, like, abruptly. And, like, they didn't have the girl, like, because it used to be, like, a cartoon girl who would be like, bring me your coins.
Yeah.
I want to have your coin. And then all of a sudden it stopped, and it was always like, well, why? Like, that sounds like such a great initiative. But then I feel like, was it because, it was a little shady or it was a little questionable? Like, I don't know.
Interesting.
But you have to be, I think, especially with children, you have to be, and they're children, because even if they're in high school.
Yeah.
Just careful.
But like I like where our head's at.
Yeah.
I do think there's a giant gap in the instruction of financial literacy.
Yeah, totally.
But can we just do it like with role play?
Yeah.
Like,
because we did that. I remember there was like, at a school I worked at, they had a whole unit, I think it was second grade, where they did a store.
Mm-hmm.
And they learned about like, it was a math unit and whatever, and they learned about like money and whatever, and like how to start their business. They had to go to a bank, and then they'd go to the bank and they get money, and they get a loan to start their business. They had to like, how much do you have to make a month in order to pay off? So like, I love that idea because you are really applying, and implementing all of these skills. But it's not like TD Bank's there, like, yeah, give me your blood.
No, I say like, let's just like, let's have a group sit down and create a thoughtful curriculum.
Yes.
About financial literacy, and let's pilot that in some New York City schools. Yeah, please do not sign your name to a credit
Oh my
card.
gosh, that scares me. Yeah.
Shout out to my husband, who does not allow any balance on a credit card. Bless his heart. And like, you do need to be explicitly taught that.
Yeah, because some of us weren't, and some of us, are paying for it literally right now.
Yeah, kids, don't clear your balance every day.
You don't need more than. Anyways.
Yeah, we're not going there.
We're not going there. I'm not even gonna. We're at 53, so I don't know if you wanna.
That's all for me. I mean,
the only one that I wanted to bring up because it's just at our school, and I just think it's an interesting. I don't know. I really loved it, and I think it's our school is working really well. Is yonder packets or yonder pouches, and the taking away of cell phones from kids in middle school and high school, and having to lock it up during the day. And I think it's been working out really wonderfully because students are more engaged. They're not obsessed with their screens. They're interacting with each other, and like they themselves. So like I've just heard like bits and pieces, and this is. There was an article about it. I'm not going to read any of the bits, but I'll put it in the notes. But just like hearing from like teachers at the Christmas party, like how some kids forget their phones. So like they won't get their pouch at the end of the day. They'll leave because they've been disconnected all day. And it's like, I don't even remember, that's right. And like they've had kids come back with their parents at like 6 o'clock to get their phone. Because they forgot it. Because, and it's like, and they walk home with like a friend, they're not on their phone. They're talking to each other. So I feel like there's something to be said. I think it was a great initiative, and I hope like it continues. And I know at first there was a lot of pushback from the kids, from the parents, like, how am I supposed to know? Like, if there's a school shooting, if there's something, how do I get in touch with my kids? But I feel like it's been great.
I heard through, I think it was through Lex's cousin's daughter is in that age group, and when questioning her about the experience, like the teens, really upset. She said, nobody really cares because nobody's posting.
Right, you can't.
So there's nothing, you're not missing anything. You don't really have a reason to go on social media because everybody's phone's locked up. So you're not missing anything. And so you really authentically can just like enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I love that. It makes me so happy and thankful that like this is starting to come into place while my kids are still young.
Yeah.
Because I really feel for the pioneer parents of this movement and the educators and administrators. It is such a relief. Yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's...
Dude, cheers to a great year.
Cheers to a great year.
I can't believe it was exactly... I didn't realize this was exactly our 1 year.
Was it really December?
Because we were talking about the Christmas party. We were sitting in Anne's apartment.
Yeah.
In the carriage house.
Yeah.
And we talked about the Christmas party. And then that night we went to St. Ansel for dinner after we recorded.
That's right.
And we sat at the chef's table, and we brought the sommelier over, and
he was so kind.
We had so much fun, and you went on like an 11 p.m. train.
It was a 10 o'clock train, and remember we were in the car, and I had to jump out of the Uber and like run.
You were like, "Oh, you go home first. I'll go home next." And I'm like,
"No." And I was sniffly, so now you're sniffly.
Now I'm sniffly.
This has been great. We've enjoyed this journey. I hope you've enjoyed this journey.
Thanks, Mom, for listening.
Thank you, Mom. I love you. Oh, I had to talk about Lucy in this episode. I love you, Mommy.
Not the mommy.
Yeah. And everyone else who listens. Courtney and Dennis, thank you again for your home. Linda, oh my God, shout out to my Linda.
Lex.
Yeah, we love you, Lex. Thanks.
Ryan, Lola, always listen in the car.
Yeah.
I know we've been listening enough because actually the truth is now they say, okay, but Mommy, please not sound it out.
I love it.
This is the best. It's the best decision I've ever made.
Yeah, mine
too. I've learned so much, and
I love that we get to do it together.
It brings us so much joy.
So much joy. Cheers. Yay.
Have a great year.
Have a great year. See you in 2022.
Thank you for listening to the Sound It Out podcast.
Episode 8, Top 2025 Education News Headlines.
With your hosts,
Cailin Kiefaber
and Shanida G. Gedlis.
Produced by
Cailin Kiefaber
and Shanida G. Gedlis.
Editor
Shanida G. Gedlis.
Music by
Shanida G. Gedlis.
Graphic design
Marie at MRKETNR at Fiverr. Thank you to Dennis Paoli and Ginger Blake. And thanks to you for listening to the Sound It Out podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at the Sound It Out podcast
or on our website at thesounditoutpodcast.com.
I want red socks. Red socks. It's too hot here. It's really hot. Okay. Bye.
And don't forget to tune in
and sound it out.
The Sound It Out podcast.